Hey guys, it's Steve, and welcome to another mental health video where myself, just a random Joe on the block, talks about mental health. No, I'm not a doctor, so I can't diagnose people, things like that. All I can really do is just go based on my life experiences. But today we're talking about a new thing. We're talking about complex PTSD, which is something a lot of people have and they may not even know it. Also, we're going to talk about the effects of narcissistic abuse on the victim. Now that we've got our lighting correct, I'm actually just laying down, chilling at my house. But we're going to talk about some of the effects of narcissistic abuse on the victim. Also, how it can cause complex post traumatic stress disorder. I think I've fallen victim to this. I kind of had a little PTSD going on anyway because of a result of child abuse. My dad used to be very physically abusive to me. Used to beat my mom. At one point, threatened to kill my mom with scissors right in front of us kids. I know I tell people all the time. I tell men, men want to throw shit around their house and fucking do property damage and shit in front of their kids, and then they'll get arrested and they want to say, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, there's no issue, I just broke my own stuff. But what I want to tell you guys is that when you're doing that, you're scaring the shit out of the kids in the house. You're actually giving your kids post-traumatic stress disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I know because I've lived it. I remember being like 9 years old. My house was a two-story house. It was like a house out in the middle of nowhere. I lived out in the country on an apple orchard. I'm up on the second floor of my house, hearing my dad beat the shit out of my mom. Um, Also, us kids heard him go to the drawer to get scissors because he was threatening to kill my mom. Why was he doing this? Because my mom had refused to go buy him alcohol. Recently, like back then, this was like 20, 25 years ago, guys. The doctors had told my dad if he kept drinking, he was going to die. And so at that night, my dad had asked my mom to go get him alcohol, most likely because my dad knew that the cops were kind of keeping an eye on him for drinking and driving. And so he wanted to send my mom to the store, right? Because I think maybe he even may have gotten a recent OUI as well. Or maybe that happened down the road. He did get an OUI, but that was a little down the road. So that's, I think, the origin of my actual post-traumatic stress disorder was most likely child abuse. Also, as an adult, I was almost murdered by someone, so that also added to my post-traumatic stress disorder. So you can tell that yes, I have experienced a lot of trauma in this life. I've also personally been the victim of numerous narcissist abuse on me, narcissistic abuse. I've been the victim of that from many people in my life. There's way the fuck more narcissists running around than you think. The issue of narcissism is kind of starting to come to light in 2023 because people just want to talk and get this out in the open and learn from it, right? My recommendation to you, if you're being abused by a narcissist, is politely remove yourself from the relationship, create space. If you have to block the person, you may have to block the person. You may need to get a restraining order on the person if you do it safely. There's ways to do it safely, guys. Before you take any action on the narcissist, I recommend, like, let's say you're a woman, before you take any action on, let's say, an old boyfriend who's a narcissist, things like that, before you take any action, why don't you give your local police department a call and say, hey, Officer Ricky, this is what's happening to me. How do you suggest I go about this? Because they say in domestic violence situations, when you leave your partner, that's actually the most dangerous time, is when you're leaving your partner. What can the men do? When you get seriously angry at your wife, seriously angry at your girlfriend, let's say you even get homicidal thoughts, you get suicidal thoughts, what can you do? Remove yourself from the situation, understanding that no, it's not okay to hurt people. It's not okay to beat your girlfriend or beat your wife. That's not okay. Also, your girlfriend or wife, they may be suffering from a mental illness and they may not understand why they're doing what they're doing, but they're still doing the behavior. I knew a girl that got the shit kicked out of her and she was severely, severely mentally ill. The boyfriend didn't know that she had extreme PTSD. She had not only did she have extreme PTSD, but she also had extreme borderline. and the boyfriend actually ended up taking things personally and almost killed her, violently almost killed her, because he was taking her mental illness personally, which you can't do. You can't take borderline personality personally. You can't take, other mental illnesses personally, because the woman may not understand what she's doing. I like to use the Bible: forgive them, for they know not what they do. Just let God take care of it, right? If, I don't go to church every Sunday, but I can still believe that maybe there's a higher power out there. Maybe you can do that too. But today we're talking about the effects of narcissistic abuse on the victim, on the husband, on the wife, on the kids. Long-term exposure to narcissistic abuse. How does it affect a human? I'm going to tell you some of my own experiences. Also, I'm going to read to you some of the actual, literature from sources like the DSM, things like that, sources from the internet that are actual factual information. So we're going to go ahead and get started. One of the effects of being abused by narcissists, this can be men, this can be women, this could be friends, family, anyone in your life, is, when you're with these narcissists, they tend to go from valuing you as a person to devaluing you. Perfect example, I met a girl at a bar. I'm thinking to myself, I could end up dating this person. Maybe we could hang out. Maybe we could start being boyfriend and girlfriend, spend some time together. Come to find out, the bitch just wanted me to drive her all over the fucking city. She already had like 2 other boyfriends, and it took me very little time to realize this bitch is a fucking true narcissist. She just goes guy to guy to collect narcissistic supply. I mean, when she started dating me, she told me that she was dating 2 other men right off the bat. She said that she had ghosted me for a couple months because she was dating 2 other men. That's why she, didn't see me for fucking 2 months. And then when did I hear from her? When she ended up crashing her car drunk, she hit me up because she wanted me to drive her all over the fucking city. Meanwhile, I'm thinking this girl wants to be my girlfriend. The whole time she just wanted to use me. That's what narcissists do, guys. They need that narcissistic supply. So they're just going to collect human beings to get that narcissistic supply from. Leaving people like me, they don't care about my emotional health. She didn't care how this emotionally affected me. That I was just the fucking cab service for her. That's pretty emotionally damaging when you find out that someone has been just using you the entire time. Um, how can this affect the partner? How can this affect the husband, the wife, the kids that are being abused by a narcissist? You can get into self-hatred. You could start hating yourself because, the narcissist in your life is not valuing you. They're devaluing you. Narcissists actually go through periods of devaluement where they're going to devalue the partner. They're going to devalue the wife, the kids, whatever. They fluctuate between valuing people in their life and devaluing you. If you're not playing ball exactly how they want, they're going to discard you. I'll give you a perfect example. I had an old friend stay with me for 3 weeks with her dogs. As soon as I had to ask her dogs to leave, she just ghosted me. And we're going on 18 months that she's ghosted me, guys. And all I did was ask her dogs to go because I was under threat of eviction from my landlord if I didn't ask her dogs to go. That's a true narcissist. As soon as they're not getting what they want, they're fucking gone. And they will discard you. They will ghost you. They will go into a period of devaluement. And that's what happened in this case. As soon as I had to ask her dogs to go, she immediately went into a narcissistic devaluement period, a narcissistic hatred period where she started hating me. She started smearing my name to my friends. How can this affect somebody like me? You get into self-hatred. You start hating yourself because you're being so devalued by the narcissists in your life, by friends that are narcissists in your life are devaluing you so much, you start actually hating yourself. So if you're experiencing some self-hatred, I recommend, get into some counseling with a counselor that you really like. I know there's a woman next couple cities over. It's actually my cat scratching the floor. But I know there's a counselor a couple cities over that I actually like to go see. She actually makes me kind of feel better. So if you're getting into self-hatred, I recommend getting into a counselor and realizing You shouldn't hate yourself. It's nothing you did. You were involved with an abusive narcissist who was making you feel horrible about yourself, but that's not the true reflection of you. You're actually worth a lot. You're a worthwhile human being. You've got a whole life ahead of you. You know what I mean? Um, it's important to call a friend, call a family member. Like tonight, I was feeling a little lonely. I hit up a family member and went and visited them. That's what I want you guys to do. When you're feeling that self hatred or suicidal thoughts, reach out to a friend, reach out to a family member, call a crisis line, call an officer to take you to a hospital if you really feel like you're going to hurt yourself. Say, hey, Officer Ricky, you're a cool guy. Can you bring me to the hospital? Because I'm not feeling safe tonight. I feel like I'm going to do something to hurt myself tonight. Can you take me to the hospital? A lot of these cops around here are actually really friendly people. They've got wife and kids at home. They've had bad days. They've been in crisis, so they can completely understand, right? You can lose faith in humanity. You can actually lose. I know, just speaking for myself, because I experienced so many narcissistic, abusive relationships, I started losing faith in humanity, man. I started losing faith in relationships. I don't know why the fuck my cat's going crazy. I started losing faith in humanity, faith in relationships, faith in women. I started losing it all. I started avoiding people. I started isolating. I started actually hating human beings, literally hating human beings, because I was being abused by them my whole life, guys. I mean, I remember being 9 years old and getting the shit kicked out of me by my dad in my bedroom. Actually knocked me unconscious, actually beat me unconscious in my bed as a 9-year-old fucking child. I was beaten unconscious by my father in my bed. So I've been abused my whole life. No wonder I've had, a rough time as an adult, because I was abused as a child. Um, Isolation, hatred of human beings, self-hatred. One of the main effects can be that complex PTSD, caused by repeated trauma. Like PTSD is caused by a single trauma. Like, for example, when I almost got murdered by somebody that died, he died of a drug overdose, but he had this big plan to kill me. When I asked him to move out of my house, he had a big plan to kill me. Had weapons all over my house. Actually gave me PTSD from it. So that would be an example of PTSD, guys. That's a single trauma. When he had a plan to kill me, that was a single trauma. So that's an example of regular PTSD. An example of complex PTSD would be what I experienced as a child. Getting beaten numerous times by my father, being 9 years old and having my dad come out of his office and smack me so hard in the face, put me down on the ground. That actually happened to me. Hit me so hard, knocked me on the ground as a fucking 9-year-old child. Smacked right in the face. I was head butted by my father. I was thrown against a wall by my father. I was thrown up a flight of stairs by my father. So, guys, this is all stuff that I've had to process my entire life, right? So that would be an example of complex PTSD, that multiple abuse episodes. And again, this is by somebody that was my father, somebody I trusted, somebody I thought had my back, somebody I thought I could trust. So that's an example of the complex PTSD. How does narcissistic abuse equate to that? Basically, they're so willing to just traumatize you emotionally over and over. I mean, I'll use my example with my old friend. She never wanted to call me her girlfriend, but she would have sex with me and be very intimate with me, but never wanted to call me her girlfriend. She actually told me that relationships trigger her PTSD. That's why she don't want to be my girlfriend, because relationships trigger her PTSD. One of her old boyfriends beat the shit out of her, so she's probably thinking, hey, if I let Steve be my boyfriend, he's gonna beat the fuck out of me. So she has that extreme PTSD around relationships, around me being her boyfriend. She's getting those PTSD symptoms rather than feeling good about it. So do you see how I'm starting to understand my ex-girlfriend a little bit? Maybe she didn't hate me so much, more as she was scared I was gonna beat her up, even though I'd never fucking laid a finger on her, never would ever lay a finger on her. So complex PTSD can be caused by that emotional abuse, the multiple emotional abuse, the numerous emotional abuse. It's ridiculous. I think my cat is like chasing a bug around or something. He's like chasing something around. I don't know what he's even chasing. Must be a mosquito or a fly or something. I think it might be a fly. But anyway, guys, let's talk more about this stuff. So we said self-hatred, no faith in humanity, avoidance of humans, isolation, complex PTSD of the repeated emotional abuse trauma. Like, for example, my ex-girlfriend, I'll call her my ex-girlfriend. She never wanted to call me her girlfriend. She would ghost me, guys, and she would come into my life for, let's say, weeks, months at a time. I would get attached to her because I have a healthy attachment style, and then she would just rip my heart out by ghosting me, like right out of the blue. One night she did it on Christmas Eve. Next day, almost killed myself. That's how upset I was. um so that emotional abandonment, she's abandoning me, you know what I'm saying? So that's, and she did that 3 4 times, where she'd come back, I'd get attached to her, and then she'd leave without notice. She'd ghost me for up to 2 years. 2 years is her record. She's done that to me twice, so she's ghosted me up to 4 years so far. 4 years and 18 months that I've known her, she's ghosted me. She tells me the relationships give her PTSD. That's why she don't want to be my girlfriend, because she's scared that I'm going to beat the fuck out of her. Even though I've never ever hurt a female. I've never once been arrested for domestic violence. I've never once hit a girl. I've never once been violent to a girl. But do you see how she's putting me in the same boat as every man that's beat her up? That's what people with PTSD do. That's what people with complex PTSD do. So if you have friends that are avoiding you, friends that, are saying, hey, I don't want to hang out, or your friends are isolating, don't be so quick to take it personally. Like for me, I have a tendency to isolate. I have a tendency not to want people around me. Don't, please, people watching this that know me, please don't take that personally. It's my post-traumatic stress disorder that makes me hate people, that makes me want people to stay away from me, that makes me want to self-isolate, because I was beaten by someone I trusted, my own fucking father. So do you see how I'm even having some of the same feelings that my ex-girlfriend had? Like, geez, if I let people around me, are they gonna hurt me? Emotionally, physically. I mean, I've been in tussles with friends quite a bit, so sometimes thinking you letting people around you, you're inviting chaos into your life, right? So isolation is a big one, guys. Definitely isolation is a big one. You start hating people, you start hating human beings, you start hating your romantic others, your females. Like for me, I love women, but you end up hating women, you end up hating men. um, Anxiety is a big fucking factor. I mean, I know that I've spent days, weeks, months, years anxious, worried about my ex-girlfriend. Like, is she safe? Is she in a safe spot? What did I do to fucking deserve this discard? Because narcissistic, like girls, I'll call them narcissistic women, they ghost you. Number one, they ghost as a self-defense mechanism, and two, they discard. So like when I had to kick her dogs out, she just, that completely accessed that narcissistic hate cycle, and then she just discarded me. It's going on 18 months that she hasn't seen me, guys, and while she was there, that 3 months, I was nothing but nice to her, and she just ghosts me. um Difficulty regulating emotions. So you're going to be more prone to be angry, which please don't hurt anybody. Don't take your anger out on somebody else physically, because how would you like to be the recipient of a beating? It's not fun, you guys. I've experienced myself. I've been punched in the head full force by a grown man. Breaking up a fight. I broke up a fight in my fucking car and got punched in the head full force by a grown man. So I've been there, guys. I know all about it. Difficulty regulating emotions, depression, helplessness, risky behavior like speeding down the road because you don't care if you die anyway. Sleep disturbance, staying awake all night, saying to yourself, why did my girlfriend leave? What did I do? What did I fucking do? Not realizing that narcissists just discard. They'll discard you as soon as they're not getting what they want. What else, guys? Sleep disturbance, staying awake all night, not being able to sleep. I'll give you a perfect example. One of the last things my narcissistic ex-girlfriend said. I had waited after work for her. She got out of work from her serving shift at like 10 o'clock at night. I end up bringing her home. She wants to stop at the store and get some alcohol because she's going to visit another guy, right? And I'm supposed to just be cool with that as the person that's dating her, right? but she was a true narcissist. She just wanted me around for rides. I didn't know that. I thought I could date the woman. I gave her my number at my business, thinking I could date the girl, thinking this is a girl I can hang out with. Come to find out, she just wanted to use me as a fucking vehicle because she's a true narcissist, right? But anyway, so that night she sends me home after I waited after work for her so she didn't have to walk fucking 5 miles in the dark. Um, Drove her home, ended up going home alone. She ended up going off to fuck some other guy, some pathetic loser, guaranteed. Alcoholic loser is probably what he is, most likely, because that's a track record of who she had to date. Um, so basically so she goes out with this other guy, right, and goes off and fucks this other guy behind my back, basically cheating on me and acting like everything's fine. And then the next morning wants me to bring her back to the restaurant that we both worked at. I told her, I said, you got legs, right? She only lived like fucking 2 miles away from the restaurant, 3 miles away from the restaurant. Easily could have walked, right? It was like a summer day, easily could have walked. But I'm at home cooking myself breakfast. It was like 9 a.m. And the same girl that I had seen the night before calls me up and wants me to drop what I'm doing and go pick her up and fly her across the bridge to work, which was like a 2 to 3 mile walk. It would have been. So anyway, guys, PTSD, big time, complex PTSD, is a big factor, guys. But anyway, the next morning when she's hit me up for that ride, I said, where were you last night? Kind of just like throwing it in her face, like no regard for my emotions, no regard for my needs as a man. Wasn't I the one dating her? But she was a true narcissist. She was already fucking two other men before I even met her. She told me she was dating two other men. The last couple months she had ghosted me. Shouldn't even have allowed this woman around me. That's one of the mistakes I make, and I screen women way more now. I screen them a lot more, and if I see those red flags, I just won't date the woman. I mean, I recently had a woman tell me she wanted to hang out, tell me that she wanted to date me. I couldn't do it, one, because she was my coworker, but two, she was saying some things right off the bat that were a little bit of red flags that I didn't want to get involved in. So sometimes seeing those red flags, guys, is really important. So when I asked her, I said, where were you last night? Just really actually just trying to say, like, why aren't you loyal to me? Why aren't you a good girlfriend to me? Like, I'm so good to you. She says, quote, you're insane. You're a weirdo. Just referencing and completely disregarding the fact that I wanted to be her boyfriend. I wanted to be a loving partner to her. But I'm a weirdo because I'm asking, why the fuck are you calling me right now for a ride when you were off fucking another guy last night? I'm insane for calling you out for cheating on me and actually hurting my feelings and my self-esteem, right? Because that's detrimental to a man's self-esteem when the girl he loves is off fucking another guy, right? So that's narcissistic abuse, guys. She's devaluing me. That's narcissistic abuse, and it has real effects on the partner. Real effects. So I'm insane and I'm a weirdo for asking her why she's cheating on me. The long-term effects of narcissistic abuse. Narcissists, they use transactional relationships. So it's quid pro quo, right? Which I believe is, I get this tit for tat. I do this, you do this for me. So they're really only going to like fuck you if they're getting something out of it. They're really only going to be with you if they're getting something out of it. Like, what's up with these, younger women with these older guys? Would they date that same older guy if he was working at Burger King? Nope, they wouldn't. They're only with him transactional. That's probably a narcissistic female that's with that old man because it's transactional. He's given her the $100,000 SUV. She's sucking his dick at the end of the night. Do you see how that's a transaction? That's a true narcissist for you. They won't suck your dick. They won't fuck you unless they're getting something out of it. Let's see here. So as the partner, like myself, I was giving 100% into this friendship, into this relationship with this female, just to get zero back. My sexual needs weren't getting met, even though I'm actually amazing in bed. I'm like a porn star in bed. Never had one complaint from a woman. I actually, pleasure the women. I actually like go the whole 9 yards with women. I don't just, I'm not just a taker. I'm also a giver in the bedroom. So I know it wasn't anything that I was doing wrong. I sexually, I'm 100% perfect. Um, but you give your all into these friendships, into these relationships. For example, I'm driving her all over the fucking city just to have her go out and fuck another guy on Friday night, send me home alone. That's a narcissist for you. And then to have the audacity, this bitch calls me the next day for a ride after she went off and fucked another guy behind my back. I hope someday I get the opportunity to fucking pay her back for that, do the same fucking thing to her. I'd love to do that same fucking thing to her. You know what I'm saying? Go visit her on a Friday night and then go fuck another girl right in front of her face. Hey, Susie Q, I'm going to fuck Rebecca right now. Bye. And just throw it in her fucking face like she did to me when we were dating. Um, she would literally have guys pick her up while we were hanging out for the night. We'd be on like a romantic date night at her house or something. She'd have one of these other fucking losers come pick her up at her house. And then I'd end up going home alone. That's a narcissist, guys. She was just keeping me around for narcissistic supply. She wanted me to be her fucking cab service. That's why. She was a true narcissist. So you're given 100% to get zero back, which can lead to trust issues. Number one being trust issues. You can feel like damaged goods, like you're not good enough. Like, geez, my ex, ghosted me, so I must not be worth anything. Geez, my ex was withholding sex, which narcissistic women will withhold sex as a punishment. Like, for example, she's been withholding sex this entire 18 months because I had to ask her dogs to go. Even though me and her have amazing sex together. I mean, there was one night I literally ate her pussy for 3 hours just to sexually gratify her. Um, and what do I get back? I get withholding sex for years. I mean, she ghosted me 2 years one time, another time 2 years ghosting. This time it's going on 18 months, guys, and I've been nothing but nice to this woman. But the reason why she's avoiding me is because of her PTSD. So do you see how I'm not taking it personally? I understand that it was her PTSD causing the breakdown in our relationship. But she's still guilty of emotionally abusing me, which I need to protect myself from. The ghosting behavior is emotional abuse. The discarding behavior is emotional abuse. I mean, it's only makes sense, guys, to end a relationship, to discard someone, to let somebody go if they're like physically abusing you, verbally abusing you. Then, if you talk to the person and they don't change, then why not end the relationship? I'm one of those people that, tries to give someone like one chance. Like, let's say you have a loving couple or something, and then one night the guy's drunk, he smacks his girlfriend. Number one, he should have gone for a walk, so he didn't do that. But two guys, he's not doing the right thing, not realizing that he got to protect himself, go for a walk, get away from the girlfriend, give the girlfriend space, because ultimately he's just ruining his life by smacking her, right? He's just ruining his life. Now he's in jail for domestic violence, right? So kind of lost it off in the tangent, but we're going to just keep going, guys. An increase in antisocial behavior. So antisocial behavior will be increased. Like for me, like at this time, I avoid people. I avoid women. I avoid men. I basically stick to myself because my last few female relationships have been emotionally abusive. So not only am I avoiding women, but I'm also avoiding men because of my PTSD. I mean, one of my best friends belted me in the fucking head. My own dad fucking beat me. So can you see how my PTSD is making me not trust people? So increasing antisocial attitudes as a result of physical and emotional abuse. You start hating the human race because of being abused. Misdirected anger. So, some of these people with complex post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, they might hurt someone. Just, misdirected anger. Let's say they're upset that they've been emotionally abused for years, and then they're at the bar and they hit someone that didn't deserve it. Maybe a guy said one wrong thing, said he hated the fucking Patriots, and you belted him in the face when you'd never do that sober, right? So do you see how that could be misdirected anger? He's really upset his girlfriend's emotionally abusing him, but he punches the guy at the bar because he knows that's more socially acceptable to hit a guy than a woman. But again, the guy at the bar should have just gone for a walk. The guy that hit his girlfriend should have just gone for a walk. right? That's what I tell men to avoid physical domestic violence. Just go for a walk. I've done that myself. I've been fucking ripping shit pissed at my girlfriend. You know how I handled it? I said, bye, honey. I'm going to the bar to have a beer. See ya. Fucking left the apartment, went and had a beer at the bar. So that's what I recommend guys do, is just get the fuck out of the house, get the fuck out of the apartment. If you feel like you're going to slap your girlfriend, just get your shoes on and leave, knowing that it's not okay to hit a woman. They're weaker than you are, so which that makes it unfair. I think what the cat's doing is trying to get this bug on the wall. That's what my cat's been after, is that bug on the wall. But let's see here. So you lose yourself because you were catering to them, and they just disregard all your needs. For example, the entire time I was dating this new female, she completely disregarded my sexual needs because she was off cheating on me with 2 or 3 other guys. So she wasn't giving me any sexual anything, because she was already fucking a couple other guys. Those were her narcissistic supply. She wanted me to be her fucking vehicle, cab service, and then she wanted Ricky Bobby down the road to fuck her. So do you see how narcissistic women will piece out relationships like a puzzle? Steve will be my cab driver, and Ricky will be my dick, and Bobby Sue will be my fucking rent money, because I'm going to charge him $300 to fuck me this month. So narcissistic women, man, they'll go anywhere to get their needs met. Withholding sex is very emotionally abusive. My ex-girlfriend would withhold sex from me constantly, even though we would have bomb sex. We'd have amazing sex. I mean, I'd make her fucking have orgasms, everything. We had amazing sex. But how does she go about that? Anytime she got mad at me or devalued me, that BPD devaluement, narcissistic devaluement, she would just withhold sex from me. Like the last 18 months, we haven't had sex. What is she doing? She's punishing me for kicking her dogs out. That's what narcissistic women do. They punish you. Just like this other chick, I told her I wasn't going to fucking drive around town. I sent her a text message and I said, newsflash, I'm not a fucking cab service, so you can fucking get rides from the guys that are fucking you. That's actually what I said to this girl. Look at this bug on my can you guys see that bug? That's pretty wild. So anyway, guys, let's see here. So they disregard your sexual needs. My narcissistic ex-girlfriend would constantly disregard my sexual needs, even though we had amazing sex together. We'd have awesome sex together, but she would, in those devaluement periods, she just cut me off from sex. Like the last 18 months, we haven't had any sex at all. Withholding sex in the discard and devaluement periods. Holy shit, my cat's like jumping up the wall to get that bug. No regard for your emotions. So they have zero regard for your emotional health, zero regard for your emotions. They don't care if you kill yourself. They don't care about anyone but themselves. Let's call a spade a spade. And if you're feeling suicidal, please call the suicidal helpline 988. Remember, tomorrow's a new day. Just because you're having a bad day tomorrow, what if tomorrow you were going to win the fucking lottery and your whole life was going to fucking change? That could literally happen. Like right now, I have a scratch ticket. I haven't scratched yet. I've had for like a week. What if that scratch ticket is like a $30,000 winner? And let's say I off myself tonight. Tomorrow I was going to scratch that ticket and find out that I was going to pay my house off with a $50,000 scratch ticket. You see what I'm saying, guys? You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. What if you killed yourself tonight, but tomorrow you were going to meet the fucking woman of your dreams that was going to be highly attracted to you, wanted to be with you? What if tomorrow you were going to be offered a job? Let's say you're at a shitty job. What if a CEO of a real company comes along and says, I like your customer service, sir. Come work for me for $100,000 a year and I'll give you a free car. That type of shit could happen because you could run into people like me that would actually do that. If I was a CEO of a company, I would be good to my staff. So kind of getting off on a tangent here, right? So withholding sex for punishment. No regard for your emotions. They don't care at all about your emotions. They don't care about your emotional health. The ghosting behavior is wicked hard on men. Us men, we worry about our partners, and that ghosting triggers those abandonment issues. I mean, I was abandoned by my father. I watched my father at the age of 12 years old hitchhike the fuck out of the state, and I didn't see him for 20 years. So, of course, I probably have those abandonment issues too, right? So every time she would ghost me, she'd come into my life, she'd ghost me, she'd disregard me. That's the complex PTSD. Do you see the emotional toll it had on me? It made me suicidal, almost killed myself a couple times over this girl. So that's that complex post-traumatic. She kept doing it to me over and over and over. Not only did she have BPD, but she also suffered from narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder, which gave her a complete disregard for me as a human being. That's a cluster B personality. So they don't have any regard for your feelings at all. All right. Let's see here. Constant ghosting behavior, no regard for your emotions. You start saying to yourself, can I ever trust again? Your self-esteem can take a big hit. Why is my ex-girlfriend discarding me? Why is my ex-girlfriend not fucking me? Do you see how that could damage your self-esteem? I must not be good enough. I must not be good sexually because my ex-girlfriend doesn't want to fuck me. Even though narcissists will devalue you because it's part of their mental illness. Can anybody see the good in me? Suicidal thoughts. If you're feeling suicidal, call 988, the suicidal helpline. Low self-esteem from constant emotional abuse, hatred towards humans, sexual damage caused by withholding sex, lower sexual esteem in yourself, avoidance of sex, avoidance of romantic partners. You just start avoiding romance, guys, because, the last woman you loved, you almost killed yourself over. You almost literally killed yourself over the last girl that you fell in love with. So you start being a little bit repelled by love. What if I fall in love with a new girl, Becky down the road? I fall in love with Becky, and then she fucking rips my heart out again. So you literally, you start shutting down, you start isolating, you start hating people, you start hating yourself, you think about killing yourself constantly. Which, if you're feeling that, please call the suicidal helpline. I don't want any of my subscribers or followers to kill themselves, because I want you guys to know that your life is worth something. Join me in using our coping skills. Listen to some music, go for a walk, call an officer to take you to the hospital. The cops are actually way the fuck nicer than people want to make them out to be. Keep in mind, it was the media. It was the media that did this cop hatred campaign. It was Fox News that turned the people against the police. The police are actually the same fucking people. Let's say you had a home invasion right now. Let's say 6 guys kick your front door in. Are you calling the cops? Yeah, you are. You're calling the cops, hoping that these fucking guys don't kill your ass right there. So these are the cops that you say fuck you when you're driving down the road. You want to flick them off and call them a piece of shit. These are the same guys that would be coming to save your mother, coming to save your sister, coming to save you from fucking 6 gang members trying to kill you. So why don't you have some respect for the fucking cops out there? So that's off on a tangent, right? I'm known for tangents. Anyway, repeated trauma, ghosting and abandonment can lead to suicidal ideation in the partner. They come back in your life because that's what BPD girls do. They come in your life, they leave. They come in your life, they leave. They come in your life, they leave. Why are they doing that? Because they're experiencing those love-hate cycles. 1 minute they love you, a couple months at a time, couple weeks at a time, they love you. Then it switches to the hate cycle. They can't fucking stand you. They smear your name. This is all very traumatic for the boyfriend. I know because I've lived it. So they'll come back in your life, then they're going to ghost you again. They're going to abandon you again, sometimes up to 2 years, 2, 3, 4, 5, could be 10, 20, 30 years they ghost you. Come back in your life, and then they ghost you again. Come back in your life and ghost you again. Come back in your life and ghost you again. I'm convinced that this has actually caused a complex post-traumatic stress disorder in myself. I most likely have complex post-traumatic stress disorder by this woman constantly traumatizing me, coming into my life and then abandoning me, coming into my life and then abandoning me, coming into my life and then abandoning me over and over and over and over. I've set up boundaries. She's not coming back. I've already set up boundaries. You're not coming back. I'm sorry. It makes me suicidal when you fucking break up with me. I want to kill myself when you break up with me. I can't do it. I cannot have this female around me. It's kind of part of my life plan. I can't have her around me because it makes me suicidal when she leaves. Let's see here. You end up feeling like a worthless person, shame and guilt, no connecting to people, no connection to people. You start viewing yourself as a non-player character, NPC non-player character, where you're just basically viewing life as a spectator. You start feeling like that. mostly because you don't want to participate. You don't want to be involved with the fucking group because you see human beings as the enemy now, especially people like me that have been fucking abused my whole life, right? Feelings of worthlessness, shame and guilt, no connection to people, problems controlling emotions, hard to connect with others, having trouble keeping friends and partners, avoiding people, fear of people, loss of interest in relationships, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, severe anger, property damage, losing control. Um, and complex PTSD is caused by being harmed by people that we trust. Like for me, I was harmed by my own father over and over again. That's going to cause a complex post-traumatic stress disorder, right? Being emotionally abused by this female over and over and over and over through emotional abuse most likely gave me a complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And then when you feel like you're unable to escape the trauma, it can make it even worse. Like me as a kid being 9 years old, wondering to myself, when's dad gonna beat me again? That's an example of not being able to leave the abusive situation, right? So most likely I do have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, most likely. I don't really like to get into my mental health a lot just because I feel like it's a little personal. But if you guys like this video, please subscribe, like this video, share it with a friend. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Your views mean a lot to me. I do make some side income from this channel. I have 2 affiliates. I'm actually an affiliate for 2 companies. So I do make some commission money off this channel, but mostly I do it because I care about you guys, because I don't want you to kill yourself, because I'm actually a person that almost did actually kill themselves, almost killed myself at work one night. And I'm glad I didn't, because I want to be there for my sister, right? I want to be there for my mom, for my brothers, for my family, for my coworkers. You might be the only person at work that cares about someone at your work. And if you were to kill yourself, how do you know that Ricky Sue, the one that really liked you, now he kills himself because he misses you so much? Maybe he was going to work because you meant so much to him. You were the only guy that ever said, good job to him. He grew up his whole life, and you were the only guy that ever said good job. So that's why he was working there, because he respected you, because he likes seeing you. Then he finds out you kill yourself, and then he kills himself. So do you see how suicide can just be a downhill trickle? I mean, that happened in our state. We had like a young person drive off a bridge or something. Like a week later, another one of his friends drove off the same bridge. So do you see how this trauma can just have a repeated effect? I actually call suicide a selfish behavior, because it's just selfish. You know what I mean? Because you're taking your pain and your trauma and you're just putting it on your family. Like, I think it would probably kill my family if I actually killed myself. It would probably kill my family, literally. So out of respect for my family, I don't kill myself, because I feel like it's very selfish for me to just do that and just leave my family behind, leave my sister behind with her special needs son. She has a special needs son, and I'm one of the only people that she can reach out to. Hey, Ricky Sue. Yeah, I'll call myself Ricky Sue tonight. Hey, Ricky Sue, can I get $20 for laundry? I can do that for my sister, right? So sometimes just valuing yourself, realizing you do matter. Your life does matter, guy. The one watching this channel right now, your life matters. So if you're feeling suicidal tonight, please call 988, the suicidal helpline. Leave comments in the description. If I can be of any help, I will. At least emotionally, I can respond to comments, things like that. I can be a friend on this channel. I try to keep boundaries with my viewers. I don't have viewers on my Facebook or anything, but I'm very willing to talk to you guys on this platform. Try to keep it appropriate if you can within YouTube's, rules, so that we don't get banned or anything. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this channel. I hope you guys have a great day. You guys are really what my motivation for this channel is, my subscribers. Um, if I do have any haters on this channel, I'd like you to rethink your hate towards me. Only because I'm a normal guy, just like you. I'm just a breathing, bleeding human being like yourself, just trying to make a dollar at the end of the day, or trying to help a person not kill themselves, or trying to help a person feel valued. So maybe turn your heart, from anger towards me to love. Why don't we go to love? Why don't we all forgive each other? We'll forgive each other just as God forgave us, right? Nobody's perfect. So whoever's watching this, if you have any anger towards me, not only do I forgive you, but I also hope you forgive me. Till next time, guys, I hope you have a great day. Until next time.